Yeah, I really want to see guys come out and build on the first scrimmage. I thought as a secondary, I thought we had some good plays, we had some bad plays, but obviously we came back, we had a great week of practice so far. And now getting into the second scrimmage, I want to just see them take a step forward. Don't rest off last week, don't rest off what we did well, just come out and improve your game. And that's what me and Coach Cook told him is, if every guy improves his game, we'll play better as a group. And so I'm just looking for him to build off last week and continue to push this thing for the next couple weeks.
How the transfers, Evan and Zach, come in and kind of, blended into the secondary?
Yeah, they both blended in fine. I mean, they came in, they knew they came here to work. We told them that when we recruited them. And the main part about those two guys is they just came on to fit in with the group, and they've been good. They're making plays, and obviously they have experience playing football in some big conferences. And so it's been great having them. They're sponges. They take a lot of notes. They ask a lot of questions. And to be honest with you, they've been great teammates since they've been here.
Kind of going into that second scrimmage, I know Coach will probably say a different number, but I guess do you kind of feel like some spots are solidified at this point, or that this is kind of something to kind of figure some stuff out for you?
No, the one thing about the secondary is all moving parts, and that's why me and Coach Cooks do it together. We all meet together, and it's really like we tell those guys, it's finding the best 4 or 5. I mean, if you look at a guy like Fry, who was All-American as a corner, and right now he's playing cover safety because that's where he fits in the top guys right now. So it's really those guys just going out there and figuring out where can I put myself in position to play. And at the end of the day, the best guys are going to play, and sub-test is a D-staff to put them in a position where they can be successful.
A guy like Adrian, you talked about him. Obviously, everyone at this level is going to be talented, but what makes him special more than just a talented player?
I've been around some special ones, man, and the thing about him is he's really driven. The kid is smart. If you look at the tests we give him and the questions we ask him, he can recite it. He's a sponge. He asked me the other question yesterday about what do the linebackers have, and so he's one of those guys, man. He's just really smart. He studies the game, and he's driven. I mean, the kid hasn't had one day where he's come out to practice since I've been here in December where he's gone through the motions. He works on his craft, and I'm really proud of him and looking for him to come back and have another great year.
You talked about you've had some special ones. Is there anyone he reminds you of particularly that you've had in the past?
He reminds me of a kid we had at Utah State named Jalen Davis, who was a first-team All-American. And Jalen was a lot like Fry in terms of how smart he was, how many plays he made, how he studied his game. And so, that's the thing he reminds me of. But at the same time, I struggle because he's Fry, and he's different. He's different than the kid I had at Utah State. He has things that the other kid doesn't have. But I see they're driven, their personalities are the same. They're very businesslike, and I'm just looking forward to watching them play.
Out of your corners, who has put the best days together, best day after day after day?
I think guys have had good and bad days. I think kind of the three veterans right now are kind of standing out with Zach, DeMarcus Fields, and Des Smith. Over the last really week and a half, those been the 3 so far that's kind of stepped their game up. So I'm anxious to watch them tomorrow and continue to watch them as we approach the first game.
How has Fields done in terms of just making up for the time they lost back in the spring?
Oh, he's done fine. I mean, the one thing about him, he had a great summer, and so coming back in August, his body was different, and it was a lot different than it was in the spring. So he had leaned himself up, and he's another guy, man. He just come out and he's ready to work, and it's yes sir, no sir. It's yes, coach, what can I do? If you guys have watched, we've moved him a bunch of different spots. We played him inside, we played him outside. You see him line up at safety sometimes, and so, it's for us, it's just figuring out the pieces to the puzzle.
Have you normally played like, if you had like 2 really high-level corners, do you like to stick with 2 corners? You play 3, you play 4? How does that kind of work itself out?
Every situation is different. It really depends on the 2 guys that you have, and so the one thing I know in this conference, you're going to have some depth, and the way we play defense, it's a lot of those guys out there all the time, and so we have to move them around. We have to do a good job of moving guys in a position to make plays so that offenses can't scheme us up. So I've had years where I've played 4 guys, I've had 3. I've never had a year where I played 2. And so I just think different kids can bring different things to a game plan. It's putting them in the right roles where they can be successful.
Coach, you've been having a lot of afternoon practices in the West Texas heat. How much is that going to be beneficial for you guys, or you hope it's going to be beneficial when you guys get to play Montana State?
It's not hot out here. I wear sweats every day. But no, it's been really good. I mean, the kids, they've really embraced it, man. I haven't heard them complain. At the end of the day, those kids love to play football, and I noticed that in the spring. Coming here to Lubbock, you always have a new staff, and you do things a little bit different. But the first day we had the practice field in the spring, I knew they loved to play. And so for them, it's getting them out here. This week was a tough week on them. I mean, we had 4 hard days, and then they scrimmage tomorrow. But they've gone every day. And really the last 2 days have probably been the best 2 practices back-to-back. So I'm anxious to continue to see them to build, and heat doesn't seem to affect them.
I noticed you wear the sweats quite consistently. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah. I've been, all my players, I've been doing it for 8 years, so I told them I'm immune to the heat now. It doesn't even bother me. But it's nothing to it. I just do it.
How have you seen this team evolve from when you first met them in December to now?
I think they're closer as a team, and that's the one thing me and Coach Cooks talked to them about the other day. Now I'm speaking about secondary, I'm starting to see them. They're taking steps in terms of having each other back and playing for each other. And if you watch them, it'll be a breakdown here, it'll be a breakdown there, but you don't see them blaming anybody. And so for us, it's continue to build that cohesiveness that they're together. And I think they see that. And that's the part that I'm encouraged by is, the meeting room is really impressive when you look at the older guys and how they teach the young guys. And sometimes the young guys will get something wrong in a meeting, and me and Coach Cooks don't have to correct it. It's a veteran, Fry or Doug or Fields or Dez. They're grabbing those dudes and coaching them up as the meeting's going. So that's the part that I'm really happy about is I see them getting tighter as a group, and we just got to continue to build on that.
When you came in, was there a major adjustment they had to make as players, adjustment you had to make for them to kind of mold them into the type of guy you are?
No, I think the one thing they'll know about me, and I'm sure if y'all ask them, I'll keep it real with them. And so for them, it was understanding my personality. And I'm aggressive by nature, and I think you guys have seen that. Hopefully you've seen it over the spring and fall. I mean, we're going to challenge throws, and we're going to force teams to drive the ball down the field. And so I think early on it was them getting used to the mindset of it's all right to go out there and make a play. You don't have to sit back on your heels, and we truly believe it. I mean, we're going to go out and attack offenses. They ain't going to come out and attack us. And so that was my main thing, man, and Coach Cooks is just really getting those guys to play aggressive. And when they take the field, they know they can go out and play defense and stop people.
What's been your evaluation of Davis? How's he progressed, John Davis?
He's really come along. He had a really good spring, and so he kind of came out, took the coaching, and now he's right there in a fight with those other guys. But he's really progressed in terms of mentally picking things up. He's really athletic. He's a kid who competes, and so we just got to continue to push the envelope in terms of just getting them ready to play and play meaningful snaps this season.
How much are you going to be watching the pass interference calls? Coach Patterson said that you guys had a couple in the last scrimmage that were really some eye-opening moments for the DBs. How much are you going to be paying attention to that this week?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's all education, really. You get in a game like that, and it's a scrimmage, and now the emotions are really flying, and it's not really like practice, and everything's magnified. But we've done a really good job this week of just showing them different things that teams can do to them in terms of wide receivers, what's legal, things that won't be called, things that will be called. And so this week in practice, we've had a lot less penalties. I think they understand now, okay, he can give me an arm bar here. He can do things there. I can't do the same thing. Okay, where do my eyes need to be? And so it's been really good, but really, that's just really instincts and us educating them on what they can and can't do.
What was your reaction when going all the way back to end of November when Coach Wells got the job and said we're going to Texas Tech? What was kind of went through your mind when he asked you if you wanted to be part of it?
Yeah, I was part of the original crew, so he got the job, and I basically the next day knew I was coming with him, and so it was excitement. Being a kid born in Louisiana and having a lot of family in the Texas area, I was excited to get back, and so it's a challenge that I'm really looking forward to, and then obviously getting here in December, getting a chance to meet those kids, and that's the one thing that makes it easy. I left a great group of kids back in Utah, and it was something that we had built over time. But getting a chance to meet these kids and really invest in them now since, you're December now to August, and now they know me and I know them. And so it's just been really good, and I'm looking forward to playing.
Whereabouts in Texas was your?
I got a bunch of family in Houston, so that's where I recruit. So when I'm always there, I can go always eat at Aunt's and Auntie's house. I don't have to eat fast food like everybody else.
Speaking about your freshmen, what do you kind of want to see from them in the scrimmage Saturday and moving forward?
The true freshmen?
Yes.
Yeah, for those guys, they're getting adjusted to college football. And so, if it's 100 miles an hour for the vets, for those guys, it's like 1,000. And so really, it's just getting them to where the game slows down a little bit. And it's not going to be as slow for those guys as it is the veterans. But we want it to slow down some. And so we just got to continue to develop them mentally. They're a talented group, though. I mean, they can run, they can change direction, they like to compete. And now it's the mental part about, okay, this is what it takes to be a Division I player, right? This is what I need to do with my body. This is how I watch film. And, they're really in the education phase right now of what it is to be a Division I player. But I just want to see them go out and execute the plays and make plays.
In order to be successful, how much does a guy in the secondary of the Big 12 defense have to embrace the idea of this league being a very throw-heavy?
Can you say it one more time?
How much, in order to be successful, how much does a guy in a Big 12 secondary have to embrace, I guess, the challenge or the idea of the Big 12 being a throw-heavy league where he's going to be challenged every day, every play?
Oh, you got to live for it. I mean, if you're a top-of-the-line DB, this is what you want. You want to come to a conference where it's all American wide receivers and it's Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. And so that's what I tell guys right now, and you tell recruits, if you want to play on the biggest stage and make plays, you want to come to the Big 12. Because if you can do it, at an elite level in this league, then you have a chance to do some special things. And so it's really good. I think we got kids who embrace that, and so I'm looking forward to it.
When you were at Boise, were you there at the same time with Orlando Scandrick at any point? As a teammate? Or?
No, we coached him. So I was there when him and Kyle Wilson on that. That secondary was 5 NFL players in that secondary.
Who were the other guys?
It was Orlando Scandrick, it was Kyle Wilson, it was Gerald Alexander, and it was George Iloka. That was the 4 guys.
So you coached them up pretty well then?
Yeah, so at that time I was just getting into it. So I was a graduate assistant with him and then was a player personnel. And I still talk to him. I mean, Orlando still has a place in Dallas, so when I'm there we always go to dinner. But watching those kids develop, that's the one thing that I really try to bring to these guys is working on your craft. And I always tell them, you're not preparing against the guy you're going to see in practice. You're preparing yourself for the best player you're ever going to see. And you don't know who that is until they line up across from you. And so when those moments happen, you just want them to be ready.
What made Scandrick so successful and last as long in the NFL as he has lasted? I don't think he was a high draft pick.
No, he left early. He left after his junior year. He was a 5th-round pick. He was always a talented kid. I think the one thing that I've really noticed from him is how much he matured, once he got to the pro game. And so he was a kid. He was smart. He loved to study, but he really learned how to take care of his body and really study. And I think that's what's made him last. And, hopefully he has a great year this year.
Who was the first person that called you Juice?
That was my high school football coach. And so I went to college and they called me that. That's what they recruited me as. And when I got done playing, I went into coaching. I was at the same school. And so it's never left. So if somebody calls me Julius, I feel like I'm in trouble. I usually don't answer to it. So
each day, me and McClain are great friends off the field, which is really good for us. Really we just kind of bounce ideas and route combinations and how we've been running routes together constantly. We just continue, both of us, to talk about rep after rep, how we were able to succeed in certain routes, and really just bounce ideas back and forth off of each other. And we've built a really good bond and a good companionship wherever in the slot. So we feel really, really good rolling together.
And then we've heard a lot in camp from a lot of people of Xavier. What have you seen from him so far that's kind of made an impression?
Yeah, so when Xavier first came in, first thing I noticed was, he looks like he's an athletic dude, right? I mean, he's a local kid, just kind of like me. So I just kind of wanted to take him under my arms and kind of show him the ropes. And just from day one, he's got really good speed. He's got a good knowledge of the game. He was super eager to learn. As soon as he came, he was asking me and McClain questions constantly, and just really, really eager to get in and show that he has an opportunity to come and play.
How cool is it for you? You, X, and McClain are all local kids too. So how does that kind of change the dynamic there at that slot?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just why we're such a close unit. I mean, me, X, and McClain are, I think I'll say we're all pretty close. It's really, really good because we kind of grew up all the same, so we have a really similar mindset, and like I said, we all click really, really well, and we just get into a rhythm when we're rolling in the slot, and it works out really well for us.
Talk about how many questions he asks and how he has that yearning for knowledge. Is that what a young guy needs to do to become successful?
Yeah, so when I came in my freshman year 2 years ago, the guy I looked up to was Dylan Cantrell, and I asked Dylan hundreds and hundreds of questions every day, just trying to learn. And Xavier's kind of just been like that. A little different because he was a JUCO guy. He's got experience. He's not just an incoming freshman, but really just doing everything that he possibly can to get in and learn the offense. If I'm in the film room, he's in the film room. Same with McClain. like I said, we all stay communicating and talking and trying to help each other out as best as we can.
What's the thing Dylan taught you that you still use every day?
The thing that Dylan taught me, man, really just, he really taught me how to go out and just earn everything. Just to go out to practice, with relentless effort every day. There's football things that he's taught me that I still use, with the route running. But the main thing that he taught me is really just having a great attitude every day, coming to work, just out here trying to prove, you're never done proving yourself when you're on the football field, and just to keep pushing and just have that relentless effort.
What's your thought on, you played outside receiver and inside receiver both, just how you handled that? You feel you're better suited for one or the other, and what did you play mostly at Perryton?
So when I was at Perryton, I mostly played outside, and then when I came here, played outside my first 2 years. Decided that I wanted to make the switch to inside just because I felt like it fit my skill set better with speed and being able to go against linebackers in space and create more space for myself.
That was a move that you requested?
Yes. It was a decision by me once Coach Wells came in, and I kind of saw how they were using the slot and everything, and I really liked their system. I liked how it looked, and I decided to make the switch over.
Dalton, what are you hoping to get out of the scrimmage coming up?
Just trying to, like I said, continue to prove myself, to prove that I deserve to be one of those guys that's getting a lot of reps and a lot of minutes, in the Jones or, wherever we are playing. Really just looking to go out and be myself, honestly, and just to continue to get better every day.
What's some of the things that they're having you work on specifically to reach those goals?
So things I'm really working on right now are more of my one-on-one coverage routes, getting off of press coverage and stuff, and then working on blocking stuff. I mean, you can never stop working on blocking. It's so important, especially in the offense that we run, for the slot to be a great blocker. So I constantly am working on that every day.
Who's a guy who maybe we don't know now, but maybe 3 or 4 weeks into the season could be earning some minutes?
Man, that's a really hard question, just because there's a lot of guys that that could possibly just pop up. That we got some new faces out. I mean, really, I can't give you a straight up one answer, because there's a lot of dudes that have opportunities right now that can get their name out there.
From the perspective of an inside receiver, how much has maybe the use of the tight end that we haven't seen in the past couple of years affected the way you do things?
Yeah, so even at Perryton, we didn't have a tight end. We didn't use any of that. So it's kind of new for me to see it, but I really like it. I enjoy it. I think it gives us a better opportunity to open up our run game, which then in turn, once we get the run game to get going, then we can split the tight end back out and just start airing it out.
How good a camp do you feel like you've had?
I feel like I've had a really solid camp. This is my third camp. It's definitely been my best that I feel. I feel really good about it with the reps that I've taken, the progression I've made, which I still have a ways to go, but I feel like it's been a decent camp for me.
What kind of difference does it make for the offense this year having a set quarterback as opposed to maybe last year when you had 3 guys vying for the job?
Yeah, so it's definitely nice, having an idea. Just because that relationship between quarterbacks and receivers it's a really big deal with the way everybody throws the ball differently. There's a lot of things that are different at the quarterback position. So just going in and knowing who our guy is and just being able to build that relationship day in and day out is a really positive for us.
Tell us who's gotten the most reps with the ones at your spot?
At my spot,
Yeah.
I would say I'd say probably me. With McLean being banged up, me and Xavier White have been the 2 guys.
How much you weigh in that? What did you weigh when you first got here?
So I weighed 145 pounds when I came in. That's what I jumped at the state track meet my senior year, and when I came in, I was about 145 to I maybe could have been 150 soaking wet, and nowadays I bounce around from 165 to 170.
So you just gotta avoid the hits. Huh?
Right, and that's one thing that I continue to work on too, is just try to get bigger and stronger each year. So.
And you played in the very first game when you were a freshman.
Yes.
Reps started.
Yes.
So you're like 145 pounds that year?
Luckily, by the time game 1 rolled around, I had beefed up a little bit with the old staff. They definitely helped me out a little bit there before game 1 my freshman year. But
was that experience was that eye-opening for you, or was it a case where you'd been a great high school player where you were, so it's just like, okay, this is kind of natural progression?
Yeah, it wasn't overwhelming. The moment wasn't overwhelming, right? But it was absolutely like the coolest experience I've ever had. Stepping out there, because I had watched Texas Tech football my entire life, right? TV, come to the Jones, for vacation and watch games. It had been a dream, and then finally when I got out there and kind of just took it all in, took a deep breath and realized where I was and what I was doing. It was eye-opening in the fact that I instantly knew at that time it's what I wanted to do, and I made the right decision by doing so.
What were your options when you were coming out of Barrington?
So I had a track offer from Abilene Christian, which they had talked to me a little bit with football, but they hadn't offered me anything. But I did have a track offer from them. And then, so I started out with track and field here with Coach Kitley. They offered for me to come and take summer classes and, to just come down and get ready with the team and get ready for the season in track. But then his son, Zach Kitley, was a GA here at the time, messaged me on Twitter and told me, don't sign anything that my dad gives you yet because we want you to come play football for us. And so that's kind of how I got here. I had already made my mind up that I was going to Texas Tech after the state track meet, and then football came a couple days after that.
I was trying to think, how many times did you jump this past winter or spring?
I jumped every meet.
Well,
my freshman year, I jumped in pretty much every meet. Went down to the Big 12 championship when I was in the outdoor season, and was able to be a part of the team that won, a Big 12 championship down there in Baylor, which was really exciting. But then, after track season, I felt like I had to make a choice because it wasn't fair for me to be splitting time with both programs. And like I said, that moment of stepping on the field in Jones was really the deciding factor of, this is what I want to do, and I want to stick with football.